Hello and welcome to the WIHS Journal Public Affairs program. I'm Jerry Williams. Author and educator Phil Devlin recently spoke at the New England Air Museum about Connecticut's connection to World War II. I was in attendance and I spoke with Phil after the presentation. Here's a portion of that conversation happening now on the WIHS Journal, its news and public affairs. Good afternoon, Phil. How are you?
Good afternoon. I'm doing fine.
How was our connection to World War II, Connecticut?
Well, it's rather an amazing connection. People have heard the old saying that certain people or places or individuals, organizations punch above their weight, so to speak. That is, they seem to overachieve for their size. And you could certainly say that about Connecticut, because Connecticut played a vital role, despite it being a small state. Had 1.7 million people in 1941, when we went to war. The number of people who represented Connecticut in the war exceeded 210,000. But the production of engines and components for guns and for airplanes is so impressive. It just caught my attention, and I thought that it would be a good topic to talk about.
You mentioned something about the first shot.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in Windsor Locks, and I'm very proud to say that I am a Windsor Locks native. The very first shot of World War II, American shot, was fired by a guy from Windsor Locks named Herb Garilli. He went to high school in Windsor Locks with my father, actually. He was manning a anti-aircraft artillery gun emplacement at Pearl Harbor on the date of the Japanese sneak attack, December 7th of 41. And he saw all these planes with big red circles coming in at him. And he knew they were carrying torpedoes, and he knew what was going to happen. So he had his gun emplacement open fire, and they were able to shoot down two planes. And he was the first. It's documented that he's the first guy to fire an American shot during World War II. That's just one of many significant achievements of people from Windsor Locks during the war.
Take me back to your history growing up and the things that you experienced.
Well, my father was a career military officer. He was stationed here at Bradley Field. During World War II, he was in the Army. After the war, he ran a field hospital in the Army during World War II in France, two different locations, 189th Field Hospital. And then after the war, he ended up joining the 103rd Fighter Group here at Bradley, and spent the rest of his working life as an officer, retiring as a full colonel in the early 1970s. So I had access as a kid to coming to Bradley Field. I knew a lot of the pilots and the other officers and friends and people associated with the Air Guard. 3 of my brothers were in it. I had 2 uncles who were in it. So I was well connected to this area, and was very interested in it as a kid growing up. Still am as an adult.
If you're just joining us, I am with Phil Devlin. He just gave an incredible presentation about Connecticut's connection to World War II. You mentioned there's a memorial on Route 9, someone by the name of Maurice something.
Maurice Rose.
Yes.
That's right. On Route 9 in Middletown, you'll see the Maurice Rose Memorial Highway sign. It's a brown sign. Maurice Rose was born in Middletown, spent the first several years of his life there. Later, his family moved to Colorado. Maurice Rose was the highest-ranking general officer of the United States Army who died during World War II. He was in the 3rd Army with Patton. He was a tank commander himself, and he was killed in action during the war. He had also been a soldier in World War I, very highly decorated, brave soldier who led from the front and was adored by his men. Patton called him the best general officer he had in his command.
Wow. Now that's interesting to me because, our radio station is in Middletown.
Sure.
Since 1969.
Right.
And I go down Route 9, for 18 years I've been at the station, and my father was named Maurice. It's interesting. I've never noticed the sign. Now I'm going to look for it.
Yeah, it's time that you pay attention. Yeah.
I'm just trying to get home or get to work,
Right.
Now I'm going to be looking for the sign,
Well, Windsor Locks in 1941, when the war started, had a population of about 4,100 people.
Yeah.
Throughout the course of the war, there were about almost 15% of the town's population ended up on active duty in the war. It was 14.8 to be exact, but you have to understand that nationwide, the average town and city in the United States sent 8.5% of its people to war. Windsor Locks was almost twice that, nearly 15%. And it was a working class, blue collar town. There weren't any rich people in the town at the time, and hardworking people, mainly of Italian, Irish, and Polish descent. And they ended up, in the service, and in the third war loan, spring of 43, on a per capita basis, meaning the most donated per person, Windsor Locks led the United States, was number one in the country in buying war bonds to finance the war. Here it is, this blue-collar, working-class town, leading the entire country in per capita giving. It's really rather amazing.
You said they had a fundraiser to purchase a bomber. Did I hear you right?
That's true. That's correct. Now, there was a guy in town named Jimmy Franklin. He actually grew up in Portland, Connecticut,
Yeah.
Jimmy Franklin. And he moved here because he was working for the A&P food chain. And there was an A&P down on Main Street across from the old railroad station in Windsor Locks. And Jimmy was the manager there, but he was a prolific fundraiser. He started a drive for the people in Windsor Locks to raise enough money for the War Department, as it was called then, to purchase a B-17 bomber from Boeing. A B-17 cost just under $180,000, which in 1941 was a lot of money. Mm-hmm. Within 6 weeks, he had raised enough money from townspeople. Once again, working class, blue-collar town. They raised enough money to purchase a brand new B-17. So what he did was he went to the bank and he had a bank check made to the Department of War from Windsor Locks, and he put a letter in there and said, "Here, take this money and buy a B-17 on us, the people of Windsor Locks, Connecticut." Now, so they were so moved by this generous act that they named the bomber the Spirit of Windsor Locks, Connecticut.
Wow.
And there was actually a newsreel about it. And it was the only town in the entire country that did such a thing. So that's just another one of many remarkable things that happened in Windsor Locks during the war.
Phil Devlin is my guest. Why do you think out of all the thousands of towns and cities in the country, this little bitty area, Windsor Locks, had such patriotic ambitions?
Well, that's a good question, and there are a couple of reasons, I think. One is you had a lot of first-generation immigrants from, particularly from Italy and from Ireland and from Poland, and they wanted to prove their worth to this country. They were so happy to be here to take part in the American dream that they wanted to prove their patriotism. I think that was a big part of it. And secondly, when you consider that this town had nearly twice the number of people on a percentage basis in the war as the average town or city in the entire country. You had a lot of people, everybody knew everybody, and you wanted to support your friends, your neighbors, your relatives, and really, dig deep to do so, and they certainly did.
Thank you for being patient with me. I hung out just to wait till the smoke clear after everyone was talking to you, just to spend time with you. Thank you so much. God bless you, and this has been fascinating.
Well, thanks very much.
On the behalf of the good, hard-working people of Windsor Locks, we like to present to the War Department a brand new, bright, shiny B-17 bomber. Here you go. Absolutely amazing. By the way, Phil was also a member of the 1965 Little League World Championship baseball team. If you would like more information about what you heard today, call WIHS 860-346-1049, 860-346-1049. I'm Jerry Williams for the WIHS Journal. It's news and public affairs.